Alrighty, so welcome to the Hurley Investments Trade Finding and Adjustments for Tuesday, the the 2nd of July. We will not have a trade finding adjustments on the 4th of July. The markets will be closed on July 4th. But if you ask me where I'm at tonight, I'm out where I'm fishing, river rafting, 66-mile long reservoir. We do some water skiing. My family goes out to the Flaming Gorge area, and we hang out for the week. The neat thing is there's it's a gas station out here on the city of Dutch John that gives me a little internet signal, and I come out here and I hang out and I make sure I get the markets. If it was a bad market, I kind of sit by the gas station most of the day, but on a good market, I get to go out and play. So looking at our week here, asking you guys a question, what could you tell me about this week and going into next week? That was a question. What can you guys tell me about this week and going into next week? And if you don't know, you can put a question mark in there. I can always count on Lance. Holiday week. I agree with that. But that's why I put this week and next week. What can you tell me about going into this week and next week? Dave said big theta decay, which is correct. In all reality, for the most part, this week is done, right? But what comes up about the middle of July? What comes up the middle of July? In fact, let's find out. Trading quote, it's kind of historical. Earnings season, there you go. It used to be Alcoa. Where the heck is Alcoa at right now? It is AA. We have earnings season starting on the 17th. And in all honesty, we have some earnings starting next week, but earnings season starting up. If you've been paying attention to the news, what can you tell me about earnings season? All part of understanding your market, right? And being able to trade in it. What can you tell me about earnings season? You are correct, Lance. I'm going to give you credit here. Lance just said, or he's heard news, which is correct, that a lot of the multinationals are already pre-releasing a misses, that they're pre-releasing saying, you know what, the trade war has hurt us. Does that mean we're not going to have a run or a pre-earning season bounce, do you think? Pre-earning season run and bounce higher or not? What do you think? I've got 2 no's and 2 yeses that just came in. So typically we have a pre-earnings run where the market as a whole makes a run, right? But we also have an unusually high number of multinational companies pre-releasing bad numbers or statements that they won't meet let me get this out there. They won't meet Wall Street's estimates. So here's the question. What kind of trade do you do? With this information, what kind of trade do you do? Abraham says long puts need to be put sharp and ready. Collar trades are correct. But this is more for the short-term person. Trade findings and adjustments are more for trying to generate some income. What are your thoughts? And again, I'm just giving you my best educated guess here, right? I know it's hard to believe, but I'm not right all the time. Spreads. Definitely, spreads are pretty important, right? So let's dig down a little bit deeper. What kind of spread would you put with the information that we have in front of us? Earnings season run typically starts. We have a holiday this week. For all intents and purposes, all trading is stopped. That has stopped. What can I tell you here? I just got sidetracked here in my head. Earnings season starts on the 17th, typically with Alcoa. We have pre-earnings higher than usual expectations from multinationals that are saying, hey, we're not going to meet our expectations. So wow, actually Abraham kind of hit that on the spot, but it's pretty interesting. The changes coming is not what everyone's expecting to return to previous normals. No normal is the new normal. I would buy that. Bull debit spreads. So it's kind of funny because you're thinking short term, right? Short term, bullish with a pinch of what if. If you're putting on a trade right now, well, so Abraham's kind of arguing with me right now. He's thinking, no, sir, quite long term, right? New times are coming, so you're going to prep now for something down the road. So I'll buy that too. What's coming down the road? There you go. David said it pretty quickly. China deal, right? So here's how I would be looking at a couple things. I would be looking at an ultra short-term 2-week trade that could take advantage of the next 5 days of nothing, right? Meaning big money is probably out. With big money out, I want some theta decay that I can get from a Thursday, light to no volume on Friday, 2-day weekend. I'm really looking at two different types of trades. In the short term, I could look at a in the money bull put or even an in the money bull call. They can take advantage of some time decay or some really trying to get out of it as quickly as possible for my full return. Now, I typically want to stay away from multinationals. Now, with that said, Apple's probably one of the biggest multinationals, right? So if Apple's one of the biggest multinationals, and of course I don't have all of them filled in, but look at the last marks here for well, that's not really, I guess I want to go down to here. Actually, let's take you this way. Anything interests you here on Apple? Broke above 200, right? So we have 2 days confirm or break above 200. It sits above the pivot point, which tells me we can go all the way up to 209. Have the 50-day sitting here, 193. It is a multinational, so we run the risk of them pre-announcing they're going to miss some numbers. When I took a look at Apple's numbers here, taking a look at Apple's numbers, you have 64 cents roughly for an in-the-money bull call. Excuse me, $1.64. $1.64 for an in-the-money bull call on a $2.50 spread for an 86-cent return. On the flip side, you could get a 56-cent credit on a bull put. Which one do you do? Which one do you like? Which one do you do? Abraham says, I don't like Apple. You don't have to like them to make money off them. The reason why I chose Apple was because I was seeing a little higher than average volume on Apple, even with Johnny Ive leaving. It just conquered a major roadblock, a huge roadblock. I can't believe it's still up. So this is the good news. Sure, but at times I make a bet on Apple and I lose, so I'm going to pass. So if Abraham is going to pass, that means the stock fairies and the stock gods are going to give us an opportunity to still get into it. I also would choose the bull call. The bull call is what I would be looking at. I'm going to have to use the last. I don't have the real ones in here. I don't know why. But I'm looking at an opportunity where I could do see if I can get it in here. In July 12th, expiration 197.50, 200, bull call for a limit debit of $1.75. Wanting to make 75 cents. We have 200 for a level of support. Maximum return 75 cents. And if we got filled at tonight's prices, you could get as much as 50% return on risk. Anything above 197.50 will have some type of in the money value on a of course it's not going to let me have it. Trying to see if we get their analysis on doesn't have it. Alrighty, so short answers. I would be looking more for worst case scenario. Jumping in at that limit debit. I obviously would like closer to 160 to make a 186 to a or higher credit, but I'm not going to be too greedy. Now, Abraham mentioned longer term, so I should bring out this particular portfolio. Longer term, I have a Boeing vertical that I'm probably going to lose every penny on. But Boeing should be airborne again by the end of the year at the latest. Great opportunity on Boeing. It's back down at that 350 range to at least see it get back up to 400 when planes become available. Bank of America. I've been in and out of long calls. Buy some when it gets up to 60 cents at 32. I sell them off. Buy some more. The Bank of America leap out to January 2020 might be a good idea. Baidu. I've got short term and I've got longer term. Opportunity on this one. June 2020, 135 calls. It should be up to possibly 200 by then. Disney calls, leap long calls, January 21, 140s. Ford, leap long calls, January 21, $10 calls. Facebook, June 2020, 210, leap long calls. Visa is also the same thing. There are a lot of leap opportunities to be had going way out in time, offering you an opportunity for a pretty big return. And Abraham is right. If you're willing to wait for longer term, you could see a $17 turn into a $34 pretty easy. 1157 is turned into 1832, but I've dollar cost averaged earlier ones, and I did have to sell one off to create some more capital, where I ended up losing a couple dollars. I think it was like $2 and I don't know how much, but it was $2 and probably 80 cents. I lost on 10 contracts. Excuse me, on one contract. I've got 4 more that offset it. Ford calls, not bad. I did have them up to $1.42 at one point in time. Disney calls, $13.85 up to $17.90, just a couple. There are opportunities if you're willing to look longer term. Longer term going to some leaps, and you're probably going into some bumps along the way. It would be foolish to think the China trade deal is anywhere close to being done. It's going to take some work, but there are some opportunities longer term. I was looking for something a little bit shorter term for you. And in the money bull call, and out to next Friday, that for all intents and purposes has some time decay or some, we've got 8 trading days left. Tomorrow, probably not a big mover. Obviously, Thursday is closed. Friday is a non-issue. You ignore Friday no matter what happens because it's no big money's in. So on Friday, you're going to see, you could see a swing up or down either way. But Friday kind of ignore. You just have, 5 days to worry about for next week, which is the pre-earnings week for the season. Usually you'll get some banks that'll come in this time and some retail. Let's see if we can't take a quick peek to see if something jumps up on the radar. Earnings next week. Not much on Monday. PepsiCo on Tuesday. WD-40. Bed Bath & Beyond on Wednesday. Delta Airlines on Thursday. Fastenal on Thursday. So there's not a whole lot. Usually some more comes in. So it's really, there's no bellwethers that stick out next week. Great opportunity to get some quick time decay or just get the markets to move sideways. In the money for a short term is what I was looking for to take advantage of some time decay and or a short-term trade. But Abraham kind of knocked it on the head. If you here, I'm telling you guys all this, but if you look at the way my portfolio is set up, I'm looking for a longer-term opportunity on almost everything. Pretty simple trade to look at, pretty simple trade to see. So guys, if I was going to give you a trade for today, it would be an Apple in the money bull call. It's one that you don't worry about or have to worry about unless we break the 200 level. It is a multinational, which is not setting up well by way of news, but also Apple usually doesn't follow the market. If you're looking to get through this week and next week, it is also, you could see a pre-earnings run on Apple. They don't report though till the 30th. So chances are you're not going to see those events come till the third week in July. Seems like a pretty safe trade. The setup's there. Still have some upside opportunity on Apple, technically speaking, and it fits well with that 200 support level. We haven't hit the overbought. We're just trending upwards. Technically, the trade looks good as well. So $1.75 as a limit order on Apple, 197, 200, and the money bull call that expires on July 12th. Guys, I appreciate you being here with me. Thank you for letting me be out in the Flaming Gorge area. The call spread is why it makes you more money than the call spread will make you more money than the put spread would, the credit spread. So why not make more money at the same strikes for technically speaking, the same amount of risk at the same strikes. So guys, have fun. Appreciate you being here tonight. Remember, on Thursday there is not going to be a trade finance adjustments on the holiday, and I'm doing the best I can. My travels took me a little bit off the other day. We lost a couple kayaks, so we had to go find some kayaks on the road. I will do the best I can to get a commentary in place and out to you, trying for tomorrow. But if I'm not able to do it, I do apologize. Have a good week, and you'll hear me first thing next Monday. Guys, take care. Enjoy your 4th of July, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.